Hi all, welcome to Unbiased Rugby. Welcome to the Thursday night chat that I have every Thursday. I had scheduled for Rugby Analyst to join me, but I think we got our times a little bit crossed. He's going to see if he can join in the next 30 minutes, but if he can't, then I'll just reschedule it for next week Thursday or whenever he is available. Yeah, it's just sometimes when we're discussing and I say 8 p.m. and they're an hour behind, and it can get kind of with all the different time zones, and it can get kind of lost in translation. But he will try join if he can, then great. If he can't, then that's perfect. I will reschedule with him. I'm just waiting for a mail back from him, and then we'll take it from there. But what I'll do is I'll just go through quickly through the two games today. I didn't watch the first game at all. I'm going to be completely honest. Hey, Joe, welcome to the show. No, I didn't. I wrote just 8 p.m. and, it could have been 7 p.m. Oh, yeah, excuses. Look, I can always trust you, Joe, to keep me on the straight and narrow. So I'll leave it at that. So I'm just going to go through the two games. Like I said, I didn't watch the first game at all. I have to be completely honest, guys. I've had a really terrible year at work, and it's been very, very slow business-wise. We've had elections in the country, and there's been a lot of uncertainty and things like that. And hey, Brennan, welcome to the show. Brennan's my brother-in-law. I'm hoping that he'll join on the show. He likes to spend time with his family. I just don't understand that, so maybe he'll join me for another show in the next couple of weeks. Also a big Springbok supporter. So yeah, coming back to my work. So I've just signed a really big contract, which will keep me in work until January next year. But I'm going to be really under the cloth, working these 12 hours a day, and so I'm going to have to limit my weekly evening shows at 6, and I won't be able to do them anymore until maybe the quarterfinals again. I'm terribly sorry, guys. But I will still do my Thursday show and try and make that a little bit more extensive. If there's a really big game, I think for the quarters and all of that, I will do previews and reviews. So I will do Japan against Scotland. I will do New Zealand, Italy. I will do England, France. So I'll do the really big games. But yeah, I won't be able to do the 6 o'clock show for a little bit of time. Yeah, it's just it's been such a difficult year. We've all had to go into savings and things like that, and I'm hoping. Hey, David, from the Strand. It's just down the road from me. I think it's along the R43, and then I can get to this. I think that's to the Strand there by Gordon's Bay. So yeah, but let me just carry on with the show. Like I said, I'm hoping that Richard can join. I'm just checking. I've got a mate for him. Richard said he'll join in 10 minutes, so I'm super happy. He was able to sort something out, so I'm super happy. Excellent. Let me just actually respond and say, perfect. Excellent. I've really been looking forward to it, because one thing I can say about England, you know what Eddie Jones is like, and Eddie Jones is normally in the news for loads of different reasons. He makes, I'm actually a developer, so I do programming, Joe. I program, I build e-commerce platforms and things like that, and I'm building an e-commerce platform for an internet service provider here in the country, and it's quite a big job, and it's going to take all my time. Okay, cool. I think maybe we should try get in contact. I'll try send you my email and stuff like that, Joe. I'm sure you can contact me via YouTube. My contact details are there, and we can start a conversation. But yeah, so yeah, because I wanted to chat about England for some time, because you know what Eddie Jones is like. He's always talking. He's always got something to say. He normally makes Checker look like he's pretty calm and collected, and I've just noticed that he has been absolutely quiet. There's been no, hey, Mr. Rugby fan, welcome back to the show. And he's been completely quiet. So I've been really, really a little bit concerned that there's something cooking there with England, and I think they're not carrying too many injuries. I think they've got all their big players coming back, and I'm pretty, Eddie Jones is probably one of the smartest coaches out there, and so I just wanted someone to actually start chatting about England, because I honestly feel they are I honestly feel they could go all the way. They have the hardest run, in my opinion, with Argentina, France, quarters and final if they make the final. So I just wanted to speak to someone about that. But let me go through today's games. I didn't watch the first game. I'm going to be completely honest. So I'm not really going to speak about that. I saw a little bit of the first. I saw one try that Georgia did. I think it was the only try that Georgia did. Maybe they did 2 tries, but Fiji winning that game quite comfortably, 45-10. It does look like Fiji will probably end up third in that pool and qualify for next World Cup. I don't know if you guys saw the game. Big time, David. Very, very quiet. So let's just talk mainly about the Ireland game. Look, Joe, I agree with Joe. I'm just going to put that up because I agree that 100%. Everyone thinks they're one-dimensional, and they're not. They really are not. They've got probably one of the best 10s in the world in Owen Farrell, and now they're playing him at the second pivot with Ford, who I also rate as a really good 10. Maybe not as good rugby players Owens, but I just have big feelings about them. But let's get back to the game now. We've got 35-0. Very, very convincing win from Ireland. I've got the stat sheet just in front of me. It was convincing. No, it was a convincing win, but was it convincing? That's my what I'd like to say. There were a lot of knock-ons. It was quite a scrappy kind of game, but I had to look at it and think, there was actually a lot of changes, a lot of positional changes. There was an injury for, I can't remember the number 8 who went off, and then CJ Sunday had to come back on. So he flies all the way to Japan for 20 minutes to get an injury. That's pretty intense. But yeah, looking at 589 to 150 run meters, 188 tackles from Russia, 88% tackle completion. That's pretty good for any team. Yeah, Sexton does make a difference. I think, everyone was talking yesterday about putting him in cotton wool, and they couldn't understand why he wasn't being played. But you can see he brings something completely different to the party, and I hope he doesn't play the next game because they do need to. You could see the commentators were saying that you could still see he was wincing when he did a few kicks. So I think he's still got a little bit of an injury, a little bit of a niggle that needs to be sorted out. But I don't know, Joe, if you saw the one try that they did, that somebody was holding up a Munster flag. Oh, was it? Oh, okay. Well, two yellow cards. So 2 yellow cards in the game from Russia. It wasn't the most, I think 10 penalties to 6, which is not too bad. But 88% tackle completion from both sides is pretty good. But yeah, I just think Ireland needed to get their bonus point. They got their bonus point. They didn't really have to do. Yeah, and yeah, I think, was there a red? I didn't remember there being a red. And so I think they did what they had to do. I think I don't think they tried a hell of a lot of things. They just did coming around the corner. Yeah, I'm also tired of talking about refs, Joe. I think it's yeah, it should have been okay. So yeah, it was an okay game. Ireland didn't have to come out of second gear to actually win that game. And yeah, they did what they had to do. I think if it was any team that was a little bit higher in skill, I think Ireland would have stepped up a lot more. But yeah, overall, I don't think it was the greatest game in showmanship and things like that at all. And yeah, I don't think Ireland got much out of the game except the bonus point, which is what they desperately needed. I don't know what you guys thought of the game. I did watch it, but I was like, you know, it was not one-off runners, but it was a lot of forward play. It was a lot of forward dominance, a lot of things like that. And yeah, it was just, it was what it is what it was. If you want to have a better word, I'm just going to look at some of the stats here. Player stats. I always look at defending first. Like the defense from Russia wasn't too bad. You know, that's the first thing that you can fix quite quickly. 18 tackles, 15, 17 tackles. So like, we put that up there so I can read it. Yeah, I think so. I think so too. I think if Japan win that last game, they'll win the pool. I think that would be the conclusion we're all coming to. And if they lose that game, then yeah, it will all come down to bonus points and things like that of who goes through. And it really depends how Scotland. I think Scotland have to get bonus points from their next games just to make it through. I think Ireland can probably drop a bonus point, but I don't think Ireland have any hard games left. They've played Japan, played Russia, played Scotland. Who's left? You know what I mean? So I think Ireland are pretty comfortable. I think they'll make it through to. Yeah, wow. You know what? I feel if the temperature is over 30 degrees, and stop me if I'm wrong, and there's over 90% humidity. You know, I've played in Durban. You can ask Brennan. Brennan's also played in Durban. You know, when it's February and it's 30 degrees Celsius and you've got almost 90% humidity, you have to stop every 20 minutes. And maybe there should be a proper stop at the 20th minute mark just to take on liquids, not like have coaches come onto the field and stuff like that, but just stop 2-3 minutes or 4-5 minutes and then take on liquids and then get back into the game. What do you guys think? I think for these high temperature games, it has to happen. You know, rugby's a winter sport. There's a reason why it's a winter sport, and maybe that's the way it has to happen because the humidity and the temperature is sucking the life out of the players. You know, and by the end of the second half, you can see most of the guys are dead on their feet. See some of the Russian players today. They couldn't even keep their heads up at some times. They were just completely flummoxed. I was watching the USA game. You know, some of those guys are so red-faced, and the France game, and you think, jeepers. And it was literally 10 minutes that the guy had been on the bench, and he was still red-faced. So I think that's a serious, serious problem. Let me just see if I've got any messages here. And there we go. There we go. Let me just put them into the stream. I've got Rugby Analyst who's just joined. I'm just going to try to put him onto the stream to have a chat. Hi.
Hi there. Can you hear me?
Hi, Richard. Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes, excellent.
Perfect. Thanks for joining. I was keeping everyone fairly entertained with the games today.
Okay.
Were you able to watch any of the games today?
I've caught most of the Ireland game and got the highlights of the Fiji game, so I'm pretty much up to speed. But busy day. We got our time zones mixed up, didn't we, Donovan?
Yeah, it's my fault. I think the first mail I sent you, I said SA time, and then every mail after that, I said 8 p.m.
Are there 2 time zones in South Africa?
No, just the one.
Okay. Yeah. I haven't been, obviously. We'll get it right next time.
No, I'm sure. But I know you don't have much time, so I think
it's okay. I'm okay now, actually. So no rush.
Okay, perfect. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put on what I've had just on the board here. So we were just looking at. I don't know if you can see that. I know you're on your phone.
Yeah.
So overall, what did you think of the 2 games today?
Well, Ireland got the job done for sure. What I want to see from Ireland is just some variations, and we saw a bit of that around the ruck. Don't know if you saw, Donovan, they were doing some clever little tricks off 9, a dummy run around. There was a And they played a bit of heads up as well, some clever kicks, some chips. And I think that's what they need to do to stand a chance against South Africa or New Zealand. It wasn't great, but also I think I've come to realise the handling is really difficult in this World Cup. That greasy ball is even harder than I thought it would be.
Yeah, Joe was saying how that it was one of the people that comment 92% humidity and 34 degrees Celsius in the stadium. I can't play that in that kind of temperature.
Yeah, I don't think they'll be queuing up to play in those conditions again, but it certainly makes a test, doesn't it?
Yeah, well, I was trying to suggest that maybe when you're hitting those kind of temperatures, that maybe at a 20-minute mark they should take a water break. Nothing fancy. Just take 2-3 minutes, take on water, catch their breath, and then carry on playing.
Yeah, that's a good idea. I mean, they do that when the sun's out, don't they? So, yeah, why not?
Yeah. So I think that's a great idea. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to pull up the England squad because I've got a few questions about England.
Okay, go for it.
I think the biggest concern that we have is, from my point of view, is that normally Eddie Jones is in the news for a multitude of reasons, and he's talking smack about some ref, or he's talking about this coach, or and he hasn't. He's been completely quiet, and it just seems like England are coming under the radar, and it's a little bit of a concern.
A concern for you?
Yes.
Okay, not a concern for me. That's fine. So what's your question exactly?
So it's I've got my questions here.
Right.
Is England holding something back?
I hope so. Yeah, I think everyone's going to be holding back strike plays. I think that's for sure. I think everyone. We've only really seen we've seen some more variations and some line-out variations, but we certainly won't have seen the full bag of those. So, yeah, they'll be holding that back. But as far as their actual general gameplay goes, I think we pretty much, we see what England are all about. And I'm actually quite happy because at the beginning of Eddie Jones's tenure, they were quite basic, very strong defence, good set piece. And they've kept it, but they definitely have added offloading, handling, and they're looking to expand as well. So if they get that right, it's a dangerous mix. I'm just not sure, do they have that championship experience? We know when the going gets tough, will they crumble or will they step up? So first test for them on Saturday. We'll see.
Yeah, I think we'll know a hell of a lot more after Argentina. Because I've honestly felt it. If England win this World Cup, I think they've got the hardest road of any of the side. They've literally got 5 Tier 1 games in a row, which is pretty difficult to win all 5 because each one of them gets progressively harder. So I think looking at this things at the moment, it would be Argentina, France, probably Australia. Yeah. Maybe next New Zealand or Ireland, and then obviously the final. So it's It's really tough. Yeah, I mean they've had a good start. They've had their easier games first, which is good. It'll be interesting to see if Eddie does any rotation from Argentina to France. But Eddie Jones doesn't do a lot. He does like playing his best players a lot. So I think they'll probably just play straight through. Yeah, I agree with you there 100%. One thing was quite concerning, and then somebody brought it up in another blog, that I felt Billy was being played way too much. I think he's played every single game since the start of the Six Nations, and I thought but I think he actually I think he goes out of form if he's not playing.
Yeah, I think that's right. I think it's a calculated risk for sure. But I think they know from experience, and Billy's very open about this, if he doesn't play, he's not someone like David Pocock who could go and run up a mountain if he's not playing. He might get a little lazy. He might eat the wrong stuff. And I think they're just literally tailoring these games to the individual, and he's just got to play. And I think his brother Mako would have been the same. They'd have played him pretty solid as well, because that's how they get fit. They're not, gym guys naturally. They just play. So if he stays fit and uninjured, it could be a bit of a genius move. So I'm not worried about him playing every week because that's where he gets his fitness.
Okay, I've just got a comment here. It says England is about a year ahead of the box, which I agree. But they lack a mongrel. I may disagree a little bit with that one. I think Curry slips into that role.
Yeah, it depends on the definition of mongrel. I mean, they haven't shown when they're under pressure that they've coped. I'd say they're certainly hard enough and nasty enough, if that's what they mean. But yeah, I mean, the Springboks are going to be a year behind because obviously Erasmus only took them over late in the day. So, that was always going to be the case. But, they've done very well considering it's like a 2-year run-up.
Well, one thing I noticed today with Ireland, because Ireland were playing a true blindside today. And and I know England, they've generally got the 2 open sides. I think a lot of the countries are now playing 2 open sides.
You talk about Rhys Ruddock there?
Yeah. And it was quite nice to actually see a proper blindside actually playing. Yeah,
I think with Ireland it's a little bit more enforced. Their best 7 is Dan Levy by miles, and he's at home. And I think they want to play Josh van der Fleer, but I'm not sure he's very good, but I'm not sure he's quite at that top level. And I think they're more experimenting with other options rather than a calculated plan as such.
Okay. So they have to, but I was concerned when they started playing the 2 open sides, but I must admit, I think Curry and Underhill are just sublime, absolutely sublime players from my point of view.
I think what's happened is, interestingly, I've got the England team in front of me, and I'd assume he's playing his strongest team for this Argentina game.
I think so.
He's got Ludlam on the bench instead of Wilson, so another quick type open side. So he's almost got 3 speed back row. I think he thinks this World Cup is going to be unbelievably quick, and he left the likes of Rob Shaw at home, another solid back row, and he's gone for speed. I think it's rather than open side. I think it's more speed.
Okay, because I've really liked Tom Curry for a long time. I think he's a special. For me, he's a special kind of player. I don't think he's there yet though.
His brother Ben is almost as good, so I think after the World Cup you might see 2 Currys.
Okay. Well, that's not bad. Well, I'm just going through the team sheet here for tomorrow.
Yeah, I've got it here.
I think it's Joe Marler, Jamie George, Carl Sinclair, front row. I think that's a pretty solid front row. I really like Jamie George. I started really liking the way that he plays at Saracens, and then I thought, okay, I think he's stepping into that world-class kind of role.
Yeah, he's a great all-rounder, and he's got brilliant hands as well. So he's not, I wouldn't say he's like naturally the toughest guy out there, mate. He's not quite as nasty as maybe Malcolm Marks is, but he's got very soft hands. He's a great all-rounder, and I know he's quality.
And then I must admit, I've watched Carl Sinclair play at Harlequins, and I've thought, cheapers, the guy's got a red mist of absolute note. But he seems to actually not really get people aren't really getting under his skin anymore. He's a little bit more relaxed.
Well, he's clever. He's a clever guy, and he knows it's in there. The red mist is in there. He just knows he has to control it, or he doesn't play for England. And you can see he's very powerful, but again, he's another prop with really good skills, which is something England haven't had in the past. And if they get Mako Vunipola fit, that's 3 front rows who are probably the most skillful front rows in the competition, dare I say.
Well, for me, I'm going to be completely honest. I think Mako Vunipola is the best loose head in the world. I'm bar none.
If he gets fully fit, then sure, yeah.
I think bar none. I don't think Carl Sinclair is the best tight head, but he's up there.
He's a British and Irish Lion, starter, so he's right up there.
Then looking at the second row, Mario Toji, George Cruz. I think I really like Mario Toji. I think he's an absolute. He's probably one of the smartest rugby players I've ever seen play.
Well, yeah, it hasn't always been the case. I mean, like Carl Sinclair. He was prone to silly penalties, getting a bit too excited. His USP is energy and nuisance factor. That's what he's good at. And he seems, touch wood, he seems to have found that balance now. So hopefully they're maturing just at the right time.
I think so, because I just think sometimes he has that the Richie McCaw hand in the ruck, just slowing the ball down at half a second. I just think he's starting to learn those little tricks that like the Sam Whitelocks have and things like that. Just a quick hand.
Yeah, he's not actually the biggest ball carrier out there. It's more his athletic ability is pretty freaky, like charge downs, going through mauls, spoiling rucks. That's his thing.
And then looking at the loose trio for tomorrow, I'm just going to really talk about tomorrow's thing. Obviously, Tom Curry, Sam Underhill, Billy. Obviously, I think Billy gives you that go forward. I think. Do you honestly think, like I think, that England can't lose Billy at all?
Yeah, they can't lose Billy. No way, no way. Wilson's very good, and looking on the bright side, if they did lose Billy, they'd have a quicker back row, but they would struggle for ball carriers. Then they would be down on ball carriers.
Yeah, I agree 100%. I just think without Billy there, it becomes very, very light, and he brings something special that nobody else can bring in that pack. Well,
what I would say is a bit different actually. I think a lot of teams have really focused on Billy now. He's being marshalled quite a lot better, so I think he's going to find it tougher to make those easy meters. But of course, that does suck in space for other players. He's definitely a marked man.
Mm. Well, I think even if you marked, if I looked at CJ Stunder today, it still takes two people out of the defence when he does the carry. So with Billy, you have to put two people in to tackle him, maybe a third person in there to compete. Obviously leaves a much open line to attack on. So maybe you don't get the meters, but at least you're pulling in the defence.
Yeah, absolutely. He's got a good offload. He's got some of the best hands out there as well. And that is very unusual for an England pack in the past to have this much ball handling. Is actually pretty unusual.
Yeah, I'm really liking this pack. I think what's also quite nice is it's not just the pack, it's actually what comes off the bench that's pretty good to replace those players, like the Mako, Dane, Cowan Dickey, Courtney Laws, who I really like. I think he's a really good super kind of sub.
Definitely super sub, yeah. Yeah, he's a bit athletically, that he's a bit freaky. He can do some pretty impressive stuff.
Yeah, also I think when the game's a little bit looser and open, you've got an extra option in the lineouts. I think I think he does bring something a little bit different off the bench. Now I'm going to come to what I think is a little bit of a chink in the armor is the number 9.
Mm. Well, yeah, I think Eddie's gone for a player that does a role. A good kicker, good passer, and a bit of a captain at 9. He's picked Willi Hines because even though he hasn't played much internationals, he controls a game. He's a very natural leader. And I think he's actually played really well. He's surprised me. But
yes.
the best 9 in England, I believe, is Ben Spencer of Saracens, and he's at home.
Yeah, it just seems, when you see a player sometimes on the field and they just seem a little bit out of place. And I'm sure you'll get into that role, Ben Youngs. I'm sure you'll start relaxing over time. But he just seems a little bit too frenetic, for want of a better word.
Yeah, I mean, he's been playing. He plays for Leicester in England, and they've been struggling a bit. So, he hasn't had the best of times. We'll see. It's a big game. It's a big game for him on Saturday for sure.
Then that was my other question. Obviously, we're looking at the 10-12 pivot, between Ford and Farrell. I just want to hear what your opinion is on that.
It's a bit of a catch-22 because with Ford Farrell, you have unbelievable distribution and kicking options. But, Ford's very small and Farrell's not the quickest, so you lose a little bit of speed. It's tricky. There's no real answer there. And Manu's a better 13, but then is he a better 12 than Farrell? So I don't really know. I don't really know what the best option is. They've got options, but I don't know. We'll see.
It's a tough one because, sometimes when I see George Ford play, I think, good grief, the guy's absolute genius. And then sometimes I see him play and I think, eesh. Where, for me personally, I think for the really big games, I'd prefer Owen Farrell at 10, just taking charge.
The thing is, though, if Farrell is going to play 10 for the really big games, surely he'd be playing on Saturday. But Ford has actually been playing the best I've ever seen him play in this World Cup. I think he really is on top of his game. So it'd be hard to drop Ford. And you can't drop Farrell because he's your captain. So, it's a little bit of a compromise, but hopefully it'll be the best option.
Well, look, it is tough because, a lot of teams are starting playing a double playmaker in various roles. So I think
England's got a triple playmaker, actually, because they bring Daly in a lot as a distributor, a bit wider. So they, with Ford, Farrell and Daly, Daly's taken flack for not being the best technical fullback, but he's there for his, a bit like Bowden Barrett, not as good as Bowden Barrett, but a bit like that. He's there to come into the line and create, not just take high balls.
Okay. Then obviously for me it's quite strange. We didn't really get a lot of Premiership rugby until fairly recently. We've only really started getting Premiership. So the whole of the last season I watched a lot of Premiership, and so we never really saw Tuilagi.
No, well, he hasn't played much.
No, and I was pretty impressed when he came through. I think for a 13, that's a serious 13.
Yeah, I mean, the timing, touch wood, is brilliant. He's taken a little bit of time to get back up to full fitness, and this is the best he's been for years. If he stays fit, he is a real point of difference. He will scare teams, and then you got the playmakers out of the back on the decoy. If Billy and Manu stay fit and Maku gets fit, then that is potentially a World Cup winning team if they get it right.
Okay, so hopefully Eddie's been managing them and peaking them at the right time.
Well, we'll see. I think it's a bit of luck with Manu, actually, but I'll take it.
I think, to be honest, to win a World Cup, you need skill and luck. I think that's, it's just that bounce of the ball. Just that one little bounce can mean anything, So then getting through to the back three, obviously Johnny May, who for me is probably the best finisher out there. And, a lot of people say, well, the finishers just go there, catch the ball and go over the line. But, to be a finisher, you've got to be at the right place at the right time.
Yeah, no, he's class. He's got better and better. He's a very interesting character, but what he is very dedicated to his craft. And, high ball he's got better, handling he's got better, and, he's one of the quickest out there. And again, a bit of luck for England is Watson has been injured and come into form at the right time, and he's a high-quality all-rounder. British and Irish Lion, again, starter. So with those two on the wing, yeah, that's a serious back three.
Sorry, I need to just go check something in the passageway here. My wife just said there's a snake in the house, and I just need to go look quickly.
Yeah, we don't have that problem in the UK.
Okay, where's a ice cream tin? And I just put an ice cream tin over it. Yeah, I'll take it out now, but I just want to put the ice cream tin over it first. Yeah, no, you got to be quite careful. Yeah, where we stay, there's puff adders and cobras and things. So you just got to be quite on the ball here. Yeah,
I've got a kitten downstairs, but I don't think it's quite as dangerous.
Let me just go put this over here. I'm just going to put the team. If you guys just give me just 2 minutes just to go deal with the snake quickly. Sorry. That go like that. you stupid snake. There you go. Oh. This is strange. Yeah, I don't want to get bitten either. Yeah. Okay, let me just close this quickly. Yeah, I'll throw it, but I don't have to do it now. Seal it. Sure. Oh, sorry about that, guys. Oh.
What sort of snake was it?
I don't know. It was just a brown snake, so it just can't mess around.
Is it dangerous?
No, I don't think it was dangerous. I think it was just a mole snake, but you just never know. Our best show ever. Jeez, I had to go deal with the snake.
Wow.
Jeez, we had where we stayed on a farm just before this, and I think we had 3 puff adders, boomslangs, which is also a poisonous snake, a cobra just down the road. Oof.
Yeah,
and my heart catch up to me, yeah.
Yeah, the excitement of live YouTube.
Yes. Then I just see off the bench now that Jack Knowles is going to be playing this week.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's interesting. I mean, they took McConaughey to cover for him, and now he's back fit. He's someone that Eddie Jones really rates. Question marks, is he quick enough, straight line? But certainly, he works very hard in and around the ruck. He carries quite close to the ruck as opposed to the other wingers who, certainly Watson and May operate a lot wider. But it has meant they've had to carry 6 back 3, which has left them light in other areas.
Okay. Excuse me, sorry. Yeah, so look, I'm looking at it, and all those players there that we've just mentioned now, is there anyone that's in that wider squad that maybe should get a shoe-in for maybe some of the other games, or we haven't seen yet?
Yeah, I think Jonathan Joseph, he's another guy who had been injured, and he's come right back into form. He was England's 13 for many years, and he's as good as I've seen him. So, even though Tuolangi is probably better at 13, a Tuolangi 12, Joseph 13 is a serious starting option.
Okay.
And we haven't seen Slade yet because he's been unfit. So it'd be interesting to see if his knee holds up, if he's agile and quick enough at the weekend.
Okay. Oh yeah, because he's obviously coming off the bench. Hey, look, I'm looking and I'm thinking, okay, here comes a big question. I don't know if you're same as I've spoken to quite a few people from different countries, and I'm a lot harder on the Springboks than anybody else. And people look at my team and they go, "Ish, you've got some amazing players," and I think, they're just a bunch of idiots and they can't do this and they can't do that. And I wonder if it's the same with you in England and other sides, or do you think they can go the whole way?
England, yeah, no, I'm harsh-ish on England, but they've got a really good team. They've got a really, really good team.
Yeah.
I think it's a better team than they had 4 years ago. I probably haven't seen a team with as many tools as they have. Sheer athletic weapons, skill everywhere, handling everywhere. It's just when the crunches come, they have wilted sometimes. So Wales's mentality, I believe, is slightly superior at the moment. But they've got everything. It's just the test will come in those pressure moments, and we'll see.
Okay. Look, I think from an England, I think it's only a final would be a successful World Cup.
Yeah, Yeah, well, getting out of the pool would be a nice start because they didn't do that last time.
I don't think you've got anything to worry about.
Well, it is an easier pool than last time. Argentina are very solid, very solid. But if England can match them set piece and physically, I think they should have too much elsewhere. And France are capable of excellence, but certainly switch off occasionally. So you'd hope you'd get one win, or if not two, out of those games. Then Australia or Wales would be seriously tough, but they could win. They'd probably be slight favourites maybe going in. And then don't know. It's anyone's guess. So I don't know if they got to a semi and they played amazingly well. You might say it was all right. But final, I think, final's what they're after, and they know they can win, even though they're not the favourites. So it's going to be tense. I'm not going to enjoy it in some ways, but I am going to enjoy it in others. So
I've actually learnt over I think I got to a pinnacle. When South Africa lost 57-0 to the All Blacks, and I literally got through to the first half, and I threw the remote across the room, and I almost had a heart attack. And my wife looked at me and said, "Do you actually enjoy watching this rugby? Because it doesn't look like you are."
No one's going to enjoy your team losing 57-0. That's understandable. I'll let you off there, Donovan. It's okay.
No, but actually now I've learned to I can watch the game now and not get so involved, because before it was like they were personally attacking me. Well,
doing YouTube videos is gives you something to talk about if they don't do so well, doesn't it? It gives you a bit of an outlet.
Yeah. Then just your opinion on A, the World Cup so far, and then B, who do you think is like the real contender for you?
The World Cup's been thrilling. It's been really exciting. Certainly, you might say we'd like slightly drier conditions to see some slightly more exciting ball handling. But like I said, it's a test. It's the World Cup. The teams are crazy fit. Even teams like Russia, so committed, so fit. Really impressive. Some thrilling games already. And your second question is who's the contenders?
Yeah, who the contenders, and who do you think's actually going to take the title?
Well, before the World Cup, I had New Zealand as my favourites. They were definitely favourites after beating South Africa. Definitely 100% New Zealand. Massive favourites for me. They've got their hard game out of the way, played well. They've got not an easy run in, but they can rotate, they can play around. They've almost got an extended pre-season now. Then they hit a slightly easier quarterfinal possibly, and then it's two big games in a row. So it could well be just two huge performances, see them lift the cup for the third time. It just looks lined up for them, but anything can happen.
Yeah, the knockouts, anything can happen in the knockouts. I agree with you there 100%. For me, I think it's been New Zealand for the last couple of years. We've all thought New Zealand were going to win. The one thing New Zealand has that probably no other team has, I think they've got depth in almost every position. So they could lose a couple of players in multiple positions and still be fairly okay.
Did they lose Beauden Barrett, though?
Yeah, that's a big one. That is a big one. But then you still have the rock solid Ben Smith, and you still have these other players that can maybe not as special, but they can still do something quite solid in the back. Yeah.
Just imagine if there was another Barrett and you could play Beauden Barrett 10 and 15, and then his other two brothers. That'd be pretty cool.
I do another show, and they were asking a question. They said, if you could make up a team of one player, so an entire team of one player, who would that player be?
What, forwards as well?
Every single position. One player plays every single position.
What's your answer first? You put me on the spot.
Schalk Brits.
Schalk Brits. Yeah, why not? Why not? Legend. How'd he go? He played at number 8, didn't he, the other day?
Yeah, he did. It was I think he's a fairly good player. He's well past his prime, but I don't think they've really got him there for his skill at rugby anymore. I think he's there more just to uplift the whole team.
Did they waste his best years then by not picking him?
I think so. I think South Africa went through probably about 2 really bad coaches in a row, and they got progressively worse. Heineke Meyer, then Alistair Coetzee. I think really coaches that took us really down a real dark path.
No, I don't want to go there. Okay, fine.
Yeah, so we'll see. We just got to see which Premiership coach we're going to steal to become the next Springbok coach.
Yeah, who do you want?
I've got a feeling they'll probably go with, who's the guy for Gloucester?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, his son plays there as well. Ackerman.
Ackerman. I've got a feeling that he's going to be the next Springbok coach. Maybe not straight away, but he's probably going to be up there.
Yeah, good call.
Hey, well, I don't want to keep you much longer. I know you're going to spend time with your family. I really do appreciate you coming on. If people want to find you on the internet, how would they find you?
Yeah, just on YouTube, Rugby Analyst, like on my username there. Join in. Talk about all the World Cup, but of course mainly England, Ireland, Wales, and Scotland. That's my main thing, of course. But I look at everyone as well, so it's good fun. Very much like your channel. Yeah,
I really appreciate it. I think yours was the first Northern Hemisphere specific channel that I started following.
Oh, thank you.
So lots of Southern Hemisphere, and then yours was the first Northern. I think when I started following you, I think you had about 2,000 subs. I think you're much further than that at the moment.
Yeah,
there's another guy that did it with you.
Yes, yeah, no, he's busy now. I got him back once.
Yeah, it does happen from time to time. Yeah. Well, I just want to say thanks again for joining. Thanks everyone for joining in on the show. I really appreciate it. I'm looking forward to South Africa, Italy tomorrow. And if you guys are going to have a great day tomorrow, please have a great day. And if you're going to have confrontation, treat everyone with a bit of love. Have a great night. Cheers.